His Holiness Pope Francis treads a very, very careful diplomatic path, but he also leads by example. And if the Patriarch of Moscow were to heed his example, I think the war in Ukraine could be brought to a very speedy resolution. But the Patriarch of Moscow is a twit, an utter twit, with the biggest cufflinks that I think I've ever seen, except perhaps on the arm of the old Archbishop Christodoulus. I have met so many incredibly impressive and holy bishops, archbishops, patriarchs, archimandrites in the Orthodox Church. And, I know when there's something wrong, frankly. There's something deeply wrong with Kirill, as there was something deeply wrong with Christodoulus. In the case of Christodoulus, it was racism. In the case of Kirill, I think it's power. And I think it's something he learnt when he was a KGB officer. But people can change, and I hope he will. So to look at the Pope's call to the city and the world, urbi et orbi, the city and the world, it's a coded message, and he doesn't specifically reference Russia. And indeed, he very explicitly talks about conflict in other lands, the Holy Land, Africa, Yemen, Myanmar, Iran, and Haiti. And so it's not just Russia that is called upon by the Pope to spearhead peace. But he has such a good line, which only Russia can feel responsible for. He says, "We know that every war causes hunger and exploits food as a weapon." Yes, and Russia is doing everything to make sure that weapon is as potent as possible. Let us learn, he says, from the Prince of Peace, starting with those who hold political responsibilities, commit ourselves to making food solely an instrument of peace. So even in wagging the finger of blame, fairly firmly at the Kremlin, he is still, at the same time, urging a positive message. Now, all that takes is for Kirill to act with a little humility and a little less arrogance, and peace will come marching through the doors of the Kremlin. All we need is for Putin to have a way out. So this is the time for Kirill. Redemption is possible. I personally regard Kirill as somebody who has gone well over the red line, well over the edge. But there's always an opportunity to return, and he can return as one of the greatest churchmen of his day. But this is now his time. He has a decision to make, and I hope he makes the right one. And I hope that those around him, like Hilarion, Metropolitan Hilarion, who is a good man, and I know has tried to distance himself from the war in Ukraine, maybe now is the time for overtures from Hilarion, overtures from those who can see the way this war is dragging on to no good effect, for anyone. The heart of Russian Orthodoxy lies in Kyiv, not in Moscow. It was in Kyiv that the Russians were converted to Christianity, and it is from Kyiv that Russian Christianity emerged 1,000 years ago or so. And it's from Prince Vladimir, which is why Putin takes his name, which is why Zelensky, oddly, also has the same name. This is why Vladimir is such an important name across Russia. It's not only religious, it's social. It lies at the heart of the modern Russian identity and the modern Ukrainian identity. It's time for a senior churchman, as diplomats seem unable to move forward, it's time for a senior churchman to take the reins of power and adjust them with humility and with wisdom. I would like to see both, wisdom and humility. Kirill, over to you.